Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering video full of nostalgia. So we're moving on to Morningtide as part of our look through modern era sets, and this was the second set of the Lorwyn block. So this is the smaller set of this sort of two set block. At that point in time, Wizards were experimenting with two set blocks, so there were two of them. There was the Lorwyn block with Lorwyn and Morningtide, and the Shadowmoor block with Shadowmoor and Eveningtide. In both instances, there was a larger set followed by a smaller set. Now, as is the case with all of this sort of four sets, two lots of two, very heavy tribal theme, so keep your eyes open for tribal lords and obviously cards that care about certain tribes in the set. Also, four keywords and abilities to look out for: clash, kinship, prowl and reinforce. As I've said, this is a small set, 150 cards, 60 commons, 40 uncommons, 50 rares. We're going to be opening 5 booster packs this week, and then in a week's time I'm going to open 5 more. Just to give you some idea of the sort of cards, the sort of chase cards that we might be looking for if we're sort of interested in the more expensive cards in the set. So roughly in order, the cards that are above $10 currently would be Bitter Blossom at around about $40, and then Idyllic Tutor around about 27, 28, and then going down Vidillion Click 23, 24. Mutavault was in the set, and Scape Shift, they're all above $10 currently. The most expensive uncommon in the set is Heritage Druid, around about $7.50, and then the most expensive common, I believe, is Distant Melody, which is around $1.50, between $1.50 to $2. So just so you've got some rough idea of what might be the chase cards in the set. So let's press on and open these up. Again, these lovely sort of foily boosters of that particular era in Magic, which are also very difficult to open. Zoom in on this. Try and get this as straight as possible. Okay, so first up we have Reigns of the Vinestead, or Vinestead, which is an enchantment. Burrington Bombardier with flying and reinforce 2. So for reinforce 2, pay 2 and a white, discard this card, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. Distant Melody, 3 and a blue, sorcery. Choose a creature type, draw a card for each permanent you control of that type. And yep, that was the most expensive common in the set, I believe. Game Trail Changeling, so changelings are in the set. So with a changeling, this card is every creature type at all times. Has trample on it as well. Order of the Golden Cricket. Sunflare Shaman. And this particular card is an elemental, and it cares about other elementals, as you can see in the rules text there. Luminescent Rain. Ink Dissolver has kinship, so with kinship at the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top card of your library. If it shares a creature type with Ink Dissolver, you may reveal it. If you do, each opponent puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Frog Tosser Banneret with haste also cares about goblin spells and rogue spells. Makes them cheaper. Moth Dust Changeling. Another card, the Shapeshifter with Changeling on it. Blight Soil Druid. Hunting Triad, so we're moving on to our uncommons. It's a tribal sorcery with reinforced 3 on it, so 3 and a green, 3 green, discard this card, put 3+1/+1 counters on target creature. Sends Tactician, puts counters on target soldiers. Thornbite Staff. So this is something else to look for. We've actually got equipment that's tribal and cares about creature types. So whenever a shaman creature comes into play, you may attach Thornbite Staff to it. That's part of the rules text there. And our rare is Notorious Throng. So 3 and a blue, tribal sorcery rogue. Prowl 5 and a blue. You may play this for its prowl cost if you dealt combat damage to a player this turn with a rogue, so pretty specific. Put X11 black fairy rogue creature tokens with flying into play, where X is the damage dealt to your opponents this turn. If Notorious Throng's prowl cost was paid, take an extra turn after this one. And we have an Elf Warrior token there. This set, as a lot of people may be aware, had a very distinctive artwork in it. Dewdrop Spy. Earthbrawn has reinforced 1 on it. Kithkin Zephynaut. Another card with kinship. So for this particular one, this kinship here, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top card of your library. If it shares a creature type with Kithkin Zephynaut, you may reveal it. If you do, Kithkin Zephynaut gets +2/+2 and gains flying and vigilance until end of turn. So if you can compare it to the previous Kithkin, the first part of this is all about looking at the top of your library and checking to see whether it shares a creature type, but it would appear that the second part changes basically. So you get different effects there based on the card. Fire Juggler. So that's got Clash on it, and sometimes Clash is difficult to spot when you're just looking at these because they're sort of buried in that rules text. So whenever Fire Juggler becomes blocked, clash with an opponent. If you win, Fire Juggler deals 4 damage to each creature blocking it, and then it gives a reminder text about clash. So each clashing player reveals the top card of his or her library, the top card of his or her library, and puts that card on top or bottom. A player wins if his or her card has a higher converted mana cost. And we've got Ween Pruner Poplar, Warspike Changeling, Stony Brook Banneret. Helps with the cost of Merfolk and Wizard spells. Mosquito Guard has reinforced 1 on it. Roar of the Crowd. Luminescent Rain. Ink Dissolver. Inspired Sprite. Noggin Wax, so we've got our uncommons here now. It says prowl on it, so prowl 1 and a black. You may play this for its prowl cost if you dealt combat damage to a player this turn with a rogue. Research the Deep. Another card with clash on it. And our rare is a legendary Marilyn of the Morn Song. 1 and 2 black. Legendary creature, elf wizard. It's 2/3 and players can't draw cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life, searches his or her library for a card, puts it into his or her hand, then shuffles his or her library. And we have another elf warrior token. Okay, first up in this pack, Final Sting Fairy. Game Trail Changeling. Weight of Consciousness. Weight of Conscience. I can't even say that this morning. Weight of Conscience. Fire Juggler. Squeaking Pie Grub Fellows. Also has kinship on it. Ambassador Oak. Pulling Teeth. Roar of the Crowd. So we're starting to see repeats now. We've got a fairly small set, so that wouldn't be unusual. Everbank Shaman. Shine Wind. Merrow Wit Snipper. Sage of Fables. Cares about other wizards. Thieves' Fortune. Bold Weir Intimidator. So another tribal base card. And this was in an earlier set. I'm just trying to even remember the block. I think was it Future Sight block, one of those. Certainly one of those sets around that time. Indomitable Ancients. So this is our rare, which is actually a vanilla creature. So it's 2 and 2 white creature, tree folk warrior, but it's a 2/10. And then we have a rules tip for kinship. And an advert for Gateway events and Friday Night Magic. Okay. So first card in this pack, Elvish Warrior. And we've got Dewdrop Spy. Earthbrawn, Kiskin Zephynaut, Fire Juggler, Weed Pruner Poplar, Kindle Fury, Liss Alana Bowmaster, Frog Tosser Banneret, Stony Brook Banneret, Mosquito Guard. Moving on to our uncommons, Meadow Boon. It's got Evoke on it, which was in a previous set, though this wasn't a new ability for this set. So Evoke cost on this one, 3 and a white. You may play this spell for its Evoke cost. If you do, it's sacrificed when it comes into play. So if you're playing 3 and a white, all that happens is the ability on there gets triggered. So when Meadowboon leaves play, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls, which will happen as part of its Evoke. And we've got Cloak and Dagger, so another piece of tribal equipment. This cares about rogue creatures. Revive the Fallen. Another card with Clash in the rules text. And our rare is Knowledge Exploitation. 5 and 2 blue. Tribal Sorcery Rogue. It's got Prowl 3 and a blue, so you may play this for its Prowl cost if you dealt combat damage to a player this turn with a rogue. Search target opponent's library for an instant or sorcery card. You may play that card without paying its mana cost, then that player shuffles his or her library. And we have a giant warrior token. So our last pack. Sunflare Shaman, Moonglove Changeling, Fertilid, Burrington Bombardier, Disperse is in the set, Bright Hearth Banneret, has Reinforce on it, so elemental spells and warrior spells you play cost 1 less to cast. And it has Reinforce 1, so for 1 and a red, 1 red, discard this card, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Floodcaster comes into play with 6 +1/+1 counters on it. Clearly +1/+1 counters are a thing in this set. Morsel Theft, Prowl 1 and a black. Luminescent Rain, I think a couple of these now. Mud Button Clanger with Kinship. Stony Brook Banneret, Island Walk and cares about merfolks and wizards. Rivals Duel, so we're moving on to our uncommons. Bramblewood Paragon. Stomping Slabs, and our rare is Great Bow Doan. 1 and a green, it's a 2/4 creature elf archer. Other archer creatures you control get +1/+1, that's pretty specific. Whenever an archer you control deals damage to a creature, that archer deals that much damage to that creature's controller. I wonder how many archers there are in Magic where you could do Archer Tribal. And we have an elemental token. So there we have it. Interesting set. It's nice to see the sort of that sort of nostalgia value of seeing the older cards. I don't think we had anything majorly expensive there, but interesting nonetheless. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.